Welcome to sewing class. I'm Annette Julie, and today we are working on preparing our muslin for our hand sewing notebook. So this is a continuation. Please watch the first video. So we have prepared our 4x4s by ripping. We have 6 of those. We have our 7x7s. We have 4 of those. And we have our 5x7s. We have 2 of those. So now we need to go ahead and press these. I've got the whole stack just to start. And my iron's on, pretty much the hottest temperature because it's cotton. It's hard to burn cotton unless you just let it sit on there. Apply some heat and some steam. I'm going to make sure all of our little edges are nice and flat. Okay, I think that looks good. I think all the 4x4s are done. Et voila, let's go on. Now we have the 2 5x7s. Have them stacked together. Looks good. Those are finished. And now we have the 7x7s. And in preparing our muslin, we ripped off the selvage edge. We ripped all 4 edges, 2 on the lengthwise grain, 2 on the cross grain. We marked it with the arrows on the lengthwise grain. We marked the measurements in the corner. And now, after all of that preparation, we finally get to block the muslin. Everything is totally pressed. So what is blocking? Well, let's take a look. Here are our 4x7s. And I have a grid that I can work with. But if you don't have a grid at home, you can work with a piece of 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. It makes the same right angle that we're looking to work with. So take one of your swatches. Here is the lengthwise grain. Let's go ahead and line up the bottom edge with your grid or your paper, and let's see what's happening with this edge. Whoop, as we go up, it's off a little teeny bit, about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to pull on the diagonal, this direction where it's short, just a little bit to make a straight line here. We're making 4 right angles. We're recorrecting the grid of the fabric. So let's pull a little bit, and this is called blocking. We're pulling on the diagonal, on the bias. And now let's lay this back on the bottom edge. Line that up. I think that looks pretty good. Good. We're done with one of those. Let's go on to the next one. Laying down that bottom edge, letting the fringe hang over. Oh, this is way more off balance. See, this is more like 1/4 of an inch off. It's there, and it should be here. So we're going to pull again on the bias. And you could always give it a little bit of fresh steam real quick, because that's going to loosen everything up. So let me quickly press that. I gave it some heat and some steam, and I'm going to pull on the bias, on the diagonal, on the edges, consistently too. So if I'm pulling here, I'm pulling here. I'm not pulling way over there at the same time. There we go. Now I have blocked that. We're lining up that bottom edge. Ooh, that looks nice. We have recorrected that. That swatch looks perfect. Let's go on to the next one. Lining up that bottom edge, letting that fringe hang over. That one looks good. Think we'll leave that alone? Okay, lining up that bottom edge. Let's see what that looks like. That's fine as well. We have 2 more to check out. Not all of them always need blocking. Quite often the ones closest to the selvage edge. This is maybe going over a little bit too much. So we might have to pull the opposite direction just to pull this back about 1/8 of an inch. Let me check. Make sure I have it right on that corner. Right on that edge. Yeah, I'm going to pull a little bit this way. On this bias. I'm going to pull a little bit. Lay that back down. That looks good. Okay, we have one more swatch to do of the 4x4s. Laying it on the bottom edge. Oh, there it's off a little bit. Let's apply a little steam to this one. A little heat and steam, because that one was off definitely more than 1/8. Now we're going to pull on the direction that it was short. Evenly on both sides. There we go. Let's lay this on the bottom. Having that fringe hang over. Good, it's matching. Awesome, the 4x4s are done. Now we're going to move on to our 5x7s. Let's go ahead and line up that bottom corner where you have that information and that edge. That looks good. Oh, this is definitely off. Look, by about 3/8 of an inch. Because that's a lot, let's give it some heat and steam. Bring it back onto the grid, and we're going to pull this on the diagonal. A little bit more heat and steam. Okay, let's lay this back down. Laying it along the bottom edge. Yeah, it looks like it's moved over 3/8 of an inch. We pulled this direction. Okay, that 5x7 is done. Let's look at the next 5x7 inch swatch. Laying that along the bottom. Oh, look, the same problem. It's over about 3/8 of an inch. Let's apply some heat and steam. And we're going to pull it this direction. Okay. Pop this on the bottom. It's almost there. Look, we have like 1 more 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to give it some more heat and steam. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more. Rearranging the grid, putting this back on grain to do our work. So our work comes out perfect. Start with a perfect piece of fabric and the understanding of grain. That looks really nice. Good. Our 2 5x7s are done. Now we have our 7x7s. Go ahead and put that on the bottom edge. Look like it's, probably over about 1/4. So we need to apply a little bit of heat and steam. And because it's going this direction, we're going to pull it here on the bias. Let's line it back up again. Almost, with a little bit more heat and steam. This is a big swatch. The bigger swatches, I tend to apply a little bit more heat and steam the second time around. I think that's looking good. Great, on to the next 7x7. Lining up on the bottom edge. Oh, that one looks good. We don't need to do anything to that. These were in the more the middle of the bolt of fabric because we ripped the 5x7s first. So some of these could be just perfect. That's off a little bit, just 1/8 of an inch. Let's apply a little heat and steam. So this is going over this direction, so we're going to correct it. Pull on the bias, the opposite direction. There we go. Lay that on a solid line with the fringe hanging over. Looks good. Okay. We only have one more to do. Here it is. Maybe it's done itself. We'll check it out. Look, we're off about almost 3/8. Definitely have to apply heat and steam to this one. We're going to pull this direction to lengthen it on the bias and rearrange the grid of the fabric to make right angles. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, look at that. Moved right over. So now we're done with all of our swatch preparation for our hand sewing notebook. This is Annette Julie. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.